What's going on, guys? It's Matt with the FF Mediators and the Faceoff Sports Network. Back this time for our running back dynasty sales video. I've got Tyler with me, a fellow mediator. Hey, you ready to talk some running backs, Tyler?
Yeah, man, absolutely. We've got some people in our eyes here that we think you could squeeze some value out of. So let's get started. I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we really look at the board, I'm going to throw up Dynasty Data Labs uh, startup ADP here. And you see the first guy I want to talk about is Chase Brown. You see him here at number 60 overall, the back of the fifth round. That's a little bit rich for me. He's an RB sell for me. I think you can get some better value. You see his value here is akin to the 105 and the 106. So if you ask me, what would you rather have? It would definitely be that pick over Chase Brown. I think the likelihood he gets replaced is pretty high. I think that Cincinnati's been searching for a running back, and I would expect them to try and add someone because they did midseason. You'll see him on Keep Trade Cut. He's currently RB16. They just added in the rookies to their list. So, I mean, part of that's going to shake out once we get to the draft. But I know me and you have kind of butted heads over Chase Brown for the last little bit. What are your thoughts? Are you interested in moving Chase Brown, or are you trying to hold him?
Yeah, no, I'm with you here. I think you do try to move him. We had a trade earlier in the season when I needed a running back, and I was looking at the production and Chase get what I needed. So we traded. I got him on my team. Didn't into a or lead to a championship there, but that's okay. So the thing is, though, with the Bengals, their contract situation is about to make things hard for them. They've got to pay Jamar. They should pay Trey Hendrickson, and then T. What are they going to do with him? So there's not a whole lot of money to go around. I think that lends itself probably to a rookie running back contract that's going to come through. So I would probably try to trade him now, try to get something out of him. If it's the 105 or 106 that you get easily, I'm taking the pick. Those only accrue in value. Um, I might even take a couple seconds just to take some dart throws. There was one that really stood out to me when you pulled up the keep trade cut was Amarian Hampton is already valued as a he's easily falling to the 105, 106 spot right now. So you're already getting better. So definitely somebody I'm selling, but let's go on to the next one. Who you got next?
Yeah, I mean, when I kind of looked at this board and was putting together some names, and I know we talked about it. The next guy we got to was Tyrone Tracy, and it's a little funny because this time last year we were screaming to draft Tracy, and he filled the exact role we thought. And when you pull up Dynasty Data Labs Startup ADP, he's currently sitting at 91, right here in the middle of the eighth round, with names like David Montgomery, Travis Etienne kind of floating around there. And I think I'd rather have both of those names over Tyrone Tracy, and not to mention you're still, I don't think anybody's going to pay the 111 for Tyrone Tracy, but if that were the case, my word, I would absolutely do it. When you look at Keep Trade Cut, you currently see him as RB23. And for me, that's just a little bit too high. I mean, his job's not necessarily safe. I could easily see him be replaced. And the New York offense is kind of just it's interesting. We don't really know what's going to happen. There's question marks all over the place. But what I do know is that Tracy has been serviceable, but I don't think his value is going to necessarily climb up too much higher. So I would be looking to shop him if I can. You mentioned 2 seconds for Chase Brown. I would be fine with an early second for Tracy, or maybe a mid second and a third, something like that, to just take some dart throws at this running back class.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they're going to add competition. It's probably going to be later. It'll be a day two pick, maybe even a day three pick. Um, and he could win it out. That team has a whole lot of holes that they have to fill. So maybe they use their draft capital elsewhere, but I don't want to take the chance on that. Even though we liked him, like you said last year, any competition is going to cause a split in the workload. And somebody like that, I'd rather just kind of get off my team and take a shot on one of these rookies that has a chance to win a rollover.
Yeah, completely agree. Well, let's jump to our next dynasty sell, and this is one that you've brought up, and that's going to be Isaiah Pacheco. And we see him; his ADP is currently at 109 overall. So when we look at the board here, he's kind of floating around James Conner, Tony Pollard, uh, J.K. Dobbins, Ramondre Stevenson. So, what are your thoughts about Isaiah Pacheco, Tyler? Why do you have him as a sell?
It's not necessarily the player. That's kind of the crazy thing here for me. I like the way he runs. He runs angry, and I think Andy Reid really enjoys that, and that's what he looks for in a running back. But I do think that this class is just so deep at running back that there's gonna be competition to come, and I think it's gonna be outside of P. Ryan and people like that. I think those veterans, they're gonna age out, they're not gonna wanna pay them, they don't really wanna come back on a veteran minimum probably, unless that's their only offer, and so I think you'll probably get a rookie running back to come in and supplement the Chiefs' offense. Their defense is elite. I think they just re-signed, Nick Bolton, and so I think it's gonna work out. I think, they'll get some offensive weapons to help Patrick Mahomes and try to make it back to the Super Bowl again, and I think if it's a running back, we have already seen Pacheco get hurt last year, and he missed some time, so if that happens again, he re-injures it or a new injury, and there's a rookie running back in the wings, we could, see a breakout come from that Chiefs offense that's already top line.
Yeah, completely agree. Just given that Chiefs offense, I know they're looking for some more help. So I certainly think that them drafting one is well within the realm of possibilities. But let's just jump to our next player, is kind of in the same range, and that's going to be Brian Robinson Jr. He's currently at 116 overall, so just shortly after Pacheco here in the 11th round. Or excuse me, the 10th round. Um, you know, B Rob's an interesting case. Washington certainly improved their offense. They added Debo. I do think that it's very possible they draft someone. I mean, all we have is Brian Robinson and then Austin Eckler. And that's not to say that they're not serviceable, but when you just look at B Rob's production, it's not really there. This is a great draft. There's running backs all over the place. So I think I'd rather re roll Brian Robinson. He was TD dependent this past season. He had 8 total, but 6 of those were in the first 7 games. He only had 3 top 12 finishes on the season. So I definitely think that Brian Robinson's a little bit capped, and I would be looking to move him if I could. Don't get me wrong, he's serviceable if you need him, but if you're relying on him to be your RB2, that's not a good situation to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there with the touchdown dependency. That was the one thing that I noticed, especially like you said earlier on in the year. He was very dependent on touchdowns, and so that could have driven his value up to where it is now. And once again, we already said they could add somebody, and so especially, and you've got Debo as well, like you mentioned, he could take away some rushing attempts depending on how they use him anyway. So definitely trying to get value out of him while you can. He's serviceable once again, um, but definitely not somebody that you really want to have to rely on to be in your lineup week in and week out.
Yeah, and so let's just carry on, Tyler, and hit our last running back here, and that's going to be another guy that you pointed out, and it's going to be J.K. Dobbins at 132. We see him in the back of the 11th round. Names like Aaron Jones, who just got re-signed, Tank Bigsby around him. Straight up, I think I'd rather have Aaron Jones over J.K. Dobbins because I think Dobbins is likely to get replaced.
Yeah, here's the funny part is I actually really like J.K. Dobbins as a player. His just injury history is bad. He came back this year, started the year off well for the Chargers, and he had several top games to begin the year. But we know who Jim Harbaugh is. We know that he wants to run the football. He may love Justin Herbert and pump him up all day, but he wants to run the football. And so, what do you think he's going to do in the draft? He's going to get one of these guys from the deepest RB draft class that we've seen in a while. So he's going to draft somebody. There's going to be competition there. I'm not saying that J.K. Dobbins can't beat them out, but I don't want to take the shot on him losing value and then possibly never regaining that again. So if I can get somebody of comparable value, like J.K. Dobbins is going in the 11th round, the end of the 11th round on the Dynasty Data
Yeah.
Lab. If you're getting anybody, in the mid second, like we've seen plenty of running backs fall there, or even good wide receivers. We did a mock draft and we had Matthew Golden fall to like the 204. So I mean, if you're getting caliber play like that caliber of a player for J.K. Dobbins and you have the depth to do it, I would easily sell that and just see what you can get out of it.
Yeah. And given this draft that we have, I think this is a great year for you to just kind of ship some veterans off and just get some picks. And then in that third round, just fire them off on the different running backs that get drafted. Because almost every team's probably going to draft a running back because there's that many. And, some teams might even take two. So I think if you just take your shots out of the best possible situations or opportunities you can find, and then just hope for the best. I mean, you're not necessarily going to replace some of these guys, but again, we're kind of talking about some guys that are at the last leg of their career or maybe kind of floating in that in between. Obviously, Tracy, he's younger, but at the same time, the situation there is just a little bit murky, and I'm not sure that his job is actually secure. But the draft will tell us. So be sure to let us know below what you're doing with these players. If you have any Dynasty running back sales, be sure to subscribe to the Faceoff Sports Network. We've got all sorts of Dynasty content and more to come as we approach the NFL draft. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.